President Bush met with Mexican President Felipe Calderon today about the issue that, we used to call illegal immigration.
I respect your views on migration. Because we're working together, I believe we will make good progress on this important issue.
I'm sorry, migration? I think he left that pause in there so everybody in America can go, wait a minute, what? First of all, President Bush, isn't migration, I hate to be PC, but isn't that offensive to birds? I mean, why do we just call it Mexican Move-In Day from now on? Is that politically correct enough for everybody? The real story is not what they announced today at a press conference, it's what they probably talked about behind closed doors. Amnesty for oil. I've been telling you about this theory for weeks now, and it's really pretty simple. Mexico is our second largest supplier of oil, and they're running out of it. But the convenient part, at least for us, is they need foreign investment to keep their oil industry profitable. The problem is Mexico's oil industry is run by the government. It's a source of enormous national pride. Letting any foreign country invest there, especially the big bad US of A, would not only require amending their constitution, but it would be like Mexico running our Grand Canyon National Park, which we should check on because they may already be running it. Of course, every shady closed-door deal needs an incentive for the other side as well. Well, what's this deal all about? Fact is, millions of President Calderon's citizens are already in our country illegally, and I'm sorry to break it to you guys, he doesn't want you back. It's bad for the Mexican economy. Well, it's bad for ours, too. Guess what? Both problems can be solved with one simple backroom deal that you'll never hear about. Amnesty for oil. Before leaving for Latin America, President Bush said, quote, "Our biggest suppliers of energy are Canada and Mexico, and that's good. I'd much rather be getting energy from stable sources that are friendly than from sources that are unstable and not friendly. As long as the Mexican government feels confident seeking outside funding sources, for me, that is something that President Calderon should consider." Ever since George Bush was elected, I've been telling you almost all the time, every major speech he gives, you got to read between the lines when this guy talks. This is no different. I believe what he's actually saying here is, Mexico, let our oil companies in there, and when you do, we'll let your citizens stay here. Congressman from Colorado, Tom Tancredo, joins me now. Tom, President Calderon needs this because he just barely won in his election, and he needs to cure poverty down there.
Well, listen, 2/3 of the people that voted did not vote for him. I mean, he won an election, but it certainly wasn't with a majority. He is walking a very thin line down there. The president wants to, of course, bolster him in this regard. He does not want it to appear as though, and Calderon does not want it to appear as though he is placating the president and asking him to do something like an amnesty. So you're right, it's not going to be anything they discuss. It's fascinating in a way. The only person talking amnesty is the president of the United States. Calderon is saying, hey, listen, we've got to do something in Mexico in order to improve our economy. He's right, of course. Now, whether they're going to take the steps necessary to actually do that, We'll have to see, because the one step they have to take, I mean, certainly moving toward even farther toward free markets, very important. But Glenn, it is the problem of corruption that goes from the cop on the beat to the highest level of government. That is what stops their economy from actually catching fire. Now, how can we in the United States do anything about that? That's his major challenge,
I think
Calderon's challenge.
Quite honestly, Congressman, I think we're getting sucked into that corruption as well. And
it doesn't stop at the border. Corruption does not stop at the border,
Absolutely.
Believe me.
So I really, truly believe that this is the modern-day slave trade. Because, and this is a great example of it, we get workers for our sugar plantations, if you will, and they get money. What we're doing is we're giving them money for their oil industry. They're giving us the workers here, and everybody's happy, except those of us who say, wait a minute, look at the conditions these people are working in. Look how you're trapping them in poverty. This is the modern-day slave trade.
Remember, it's not just the money that they're getting for the oil industry, Greg. It is, Glenn, it is, in fact, the money being sent home by the millions of people who are working here illegally and furnishing money to their friends and relatives and families back home. $23 billion to Mexico alone last year. That is, well, it depends on the price of oil. If it's $70 a barrel, then oil is the highest source of revenue for the country. But when it's below that, the receipts from the people here, the money flowing from their illegal workers in this country comprises the highest source, largest source of income for the country. You think for a moment that Calderon doesn't know that that's an important source of revenue for him and wants to keep that door open as far as he possibly can.
Congressman, I'd love to have you on the radio program tomorrow because I want to talk to you about sanctuary cities.
Okay.
I want to talk to you about this a little bit more, and I want to talk to you about what we just said in the real story, the first story. How are you going to get your message out now that the primaries are being screwed around with?
Excellent point. Good points were made by your guest there. That first.
Thank you, sir.
Time.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, Congressman. Appreciate it. That's the real story tonight. If you'd like to read